Looking for the best in news updates? Yeah, man. Listen.
This is 93.7 Citizen FM, Abuja.
The time is 6 o'clock. Welcome to Citizen FM News. I am Didi, and first, the headlines. President Buhari commissions Customs Headquarters in Abuja, JAM, to end its 2023 direct entry e-pin sales come May 26. And on the foreign scene, U.S. President names delegates to attend Nigeria President-elect inauguration. President Muhammadu Buhari has commissioned the newly built Nigeria Customs Service corporate headquarters in Abuja. This commissioning comes after the president inaugurated the Dangote refinery and petrochemicals established by the president of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, in Ibeju-Lekki at a news conference in Lagos State.
Members of the protocol, distinguished invited ladies and gentlemen, I have to apologize. I'm having to go through the prepared speech. So I'll just say what I believe about the customs. Firstly, I made sure I give the Minister of Finance to a lady. This is to exploit the cultural behavior of all Nigerians. Once ladies are in charge, people feel too big to go to ladies. So I'm sure peace will be allowed in the Ministry of Finance, where people will go and start lobbying for their contracts to be paid and so on and so forth. So they will feel too big to go to a lady. So I put a lady in charge. That gave me a lot of peace. And as for Colonel Hamid Ali, to ask him to be in charge of customs, African SS, sickle cell anemia. I lost my first two children.
The new smart corporate headquarters cost the Nigeria Customs Service 19.6 billion naira. The Deputy Comptroller General of Customs, Mr. Adewale Adeniyi, said at a news conference in Abuja. Adeniyi, who is chairman organizing committee for commissioning of the edifice, said the building had a 12-floor tower with 5 floors on both wings of the tower and bridges linking the two wings. The chairman said construction of the building commenced in 2007 following the need to build a befitting edifice for the service. And that's as reported by news outlets across Nigeria.
Which have been in force for the last 63 years. This landmark legislation represents a significant achievement for the Nigerian Customs Service and the entire nation. It provides us with a comprehensive legal framework that aligns with international best practices, strengthens our regulatory capabilities, and fosters trade facilitation. This milestone is a testimony to our commitment to creating an enabling business environment, promoting transparency and accountability in customs operations. Having made a general appreciation, we must, for the sake of posterity, mention a game-changing intervention from Mr. President to rid the Nigerian Customs Service of corruption and lead it to paths of integrity. The presidential approval for the 100% increase in the remuneration of officers and men of the service decisively addressed the welfare of officers and made them less susceptible to corruption. Furthermore, we want to express our sincere appreciation for the support extended towards the Customs Modernization Project. This transformative initiative aims to modernize all aspects of Nigerian Customs Service operations through the innovative use of technology. With Your Excellency's backing, we have embarked on a journey to digitalize our processes, enhance efficiency, and improve service delivery. The CMP will not only streamline our operations but also contribute to trade facilitation, revenue optimization, security, and the overall economic growth of our nation. Mr. President, we cannot thank you enough.
He further said that the need for more space in view of the capacity of the service also informed the construction of the building. Adeni said the building, having undergone redesigning and remodeling, was set for commissioning. The chairman said the building, sitting on approximately 25,000 square meters, was designed and constructed by indigenous firms. And he said the height of the building above the ground was approximately 40 meters and one of the tallest buildings within the business district of Maitama, Abuja. Adeni said the building would be serviced with modern and up-to-date mechanical and electrical services installations. The Deputy Controller General of Customs said the service was proud to state that such an architectural masterpiece is cost-efficient. And with 6 days left till his exit from office, President Buhari on Tuesday presided over an extraordinary Federal Executive Council meeting at the chamber in the State House in Abuja. The council is expected to consider over 40 memos from various ministries, departments, and agencies. The second extraordinary FEC meeting in 2 weeks comes about 24 hours before the valedictory council meeting on Wednesday, May 24. And wife of the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Dolapo Osinbajo, has called on women to use their talents, resources, education, and exposure to create an impact that will stand the test of time. Osinbajo, who stated this in her keynote address in Abuja at the maiden edition of a summit which was organized by Dr. Neoma Okorocha, said the total woman has so many parts, playing different roles, and the challenge is to be successful in every one of these parts. Similarly, Nigerian women have called on the incoming government led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu to revisit pending legislation that cover women and to give nothing less than 35% to women in appointive positions. The federal government has said there is a need for the creation of the Ministry of Maritime Affairs to enable the nation to realize the huge potential in the sector. The Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, who made the statement while speaking at the investiture of Aminu Umar as the new president of the Nigeria Chamber of Shipping in Lagos, said the nation's maritime industry is big enough to guarantee economic prosperity for the nation. Sambo, however, expressed happiness at the contribution of the Nigeria Chamber of Shipping in the maritime sector, noting that the organization had grown to be an umbrella body for all stakeholders in the maritime shipping industry in Nigeria. House of Representatives has tasked the federal government through the Ministry of Power and Transmission Company of Nigeria to find a lasting solution to the issue of power distribution and supply across the country, with a view to avoiding the total collapse of power across Nigeria. The resolution was passed sequel to the adoption of a motion on matter of urgent public importance, and it was sponsored by Honorable Uyeme, who solicited for the House intervention. In his lead debate, Honorable Idem lamented over the frequency and the incessant interruption of power supply across the nation in the past weeks, which has been on the increase, thus disrupting businesses and lives of Nigerians who are equally burdened with several tariff increments. Presidential Election Petition Court has consolidated all the petitions filed by the three petitioners, that's the People's Democratic Party, Labour Party, and the Allied People's Movement, and their presidential candidates. The chairman of the tribunal, Justice Haruna Tsamani, made this known while presenting the court pre-hearing report. All three parties are challenging the outcome of the February 25 elections, in which APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu was declared the winner by INEC. The tribunal in proceedings at the Court of Appeal in Abuja said Labour Party and its presidential candidate Peter Obi have 3 weeks to prove their case. Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development and Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition have signed a Memorandum of Understanding on Nutrition for the National Homegrown School Feeding Program. This agreement was signed in Abuja by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Dr. Nasir Gwarzo, who represented the Minister, Sadia Umar Farouk. He described the MOU as another milestone for the NHGSFP. Sani Gwarzo said the approval on the policy by the Federal Executive Council on the signing of the MOU on nutrition was a step forward towards realizing the objectives of the school feeding program in Nigeria. Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has said its 2023 direct entry e-pin sales will close on Saturday, May 26, 2023. JAM's Acting Director, Public Affairs, Fabian Benjamin, in a statement, recalled that the 2023 direct entry registration, which commenced in February 2023, was extended for all and all intending candidates to register and was at a point suspended to facilitate the incorporation of certain measures to improve the sanctity of the exercise. The board said the registration of those who obtain the e-pin ends on Tuesday, May 30, 2023. The Universal Basic Education Commission has emphasized the need for stakeholders to understand challenges facing the basic education subsector and to join hands with the government to strategically resolve them. UBEC Executive Secretary Hamid Boboyi disclosed this at a one-day basic education colloquium in honor and memory of the pioneer Executive Secretary of the Commission, Professor Gidadu Tahir, in Abuja. Boboyi said the idea of the colloquium was to project the kind of dynamics and challenges within the basic education subsector in the area of funding, school attendance, and teacher development within the context of the legacies of Tahir.
UBEC has always been involved in this kind of projects because we have always believed that you need to engage, you need to discuss, you need to strategize, and you need to also get involved in research projects that can help you understand better those challenges and how best to address them. So it's a continuous process. We have always been engaged in this kind of colloquia. We have a standing research committee that had been headed earlier by Professor Gidadu Tahir, but now we have to look for a new chairman.
Moving on, National Hajj Commission of Nigeria has made a U-turn on its promise that pilgrims will not pay the extra cost of $250 on airfare as a result of the ongoing crisis in Sudan. The increased fare was introduced because of the shutdown of the Sudanese airport, which will now cause a longer travel time to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. NACON therefore charged the pilgrims to pay 40% of the added $250 to the fare. But speaking in Abuja during a training exercise organized for staff of NACON, State Pilgrims Board and private tour operators, NACON Chairman Zikrullah Hassan assured that pilgrims will not be made to bear the emerging additional cost. Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, Professor Abubakar Rashid, has said the Commission is reviewing its guidelines released in 2022 to further aid in expanding access to university education in Nigeria through the instrumentality of open distance and e-learning. Rashid disclosed this at the inaugural conference of Open Distance and E-Learning Association of Nigeria, which took place at Babcock University. He said, once the guidelines for the establishment of private open universities in Nigeria were ready for use, NUC would begin to grant approval to interested promoters to start floating open universities in the country. You are listening to Citizen FM News at 6. United States President Joe Biden has named his delegation to attend the inauguration of the president-elect Bola Tinubu. Newsmen report that no fewer than 65 world leaders, including heads of state, have been invited to grace Tinubu's inauguration. The inauguration program will begin on Thursday with the investiture of Tinubu with the Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic and the Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima as the Grand Commander of Order of the Niger. Representatives of Nigeria's traditional allies such as the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, France, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and several others are respected at the high-profile event. In auto sports, Real Sociedad coach Emmanuel Agosil has backed Sadiq Umar to return for pre-season, a better player following his long injury layoff. Umar is yet to play for the club since September 2022, as he only recently returned to training following an anterior cruciate ligament injury that he sustained during a La Liga clash against Getafe. The 26-year-old striker, who had a great start to his career at Real Sociedad, scoring a crucial goal against Atletico Madrid on his debut, has missed 43 games following the injury. And that's about the news. Before we go, a recap of the highlights. President Buhari commissions Customs headquarters in Abuja. JAM to end its 2023 direct entry e-pin sales May 26. And we also told you that the United States President names delegates to attend Nigeria President-elect inauguration. Thank you for staying with us through the news, as edited by Aisha Shuaibu Badegi. To listen to us online, please visit citizenfm.ng. I am DDNO. To stay with us.
Looking for the best in news update? Yeah, man. Listen to Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Now listen. News on the hour, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and 11 a.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and 5 p.m. News at noon, 12 noon. News from across the states, 4 p.m. And our major news at 6 p.m. Citizen FM 93.7. Always precise in news broadcast.